So overnight, the models have started to converge and it is not looking good for us. So for those who don't know, I live in St. Pete, Pinellas County, and where we were at yesterday at 5 p.m.'s update from the National Hurricane Center is that the models were diverging. It wasn't good consensus between the models, and the midpoint was somewhere kind of on the eastern part of the Panhandle or the Big Bend area of Florida. But that changed last night. I actually woke up at 11:30 and I immediately was like, I need to go check National Hurricane Center. And yeah, it shifted back to the east. And then I checked again at 5:30 this morning after the 5 o'clock update, and it has it kind of coming right at Pinellas County, St. Pete area. And then instead of going through, it's going to kind of make a turn and go up. So they're projecting and asking us to prepare as if it's a Category 3 major storm. And then it looks like it's going to dissipate down to like a Category 2 as it kind of makes its way northward. So starting Tuesday night, 8 p.m., we're supposed to start getting tropical storm force winds. And then Wednesday night, we should be getting hurricane force winds if it's a hurricane and gets close enough to us. So all that. What else is happening? The Pinellas schools have shut down, so my kids are going to be out of school starting this afternoon. So babysitters needed. Grandparents are already stepping up for that one, so that's going to happen. And also my county is starting to call for evacuations, because right now what they're saying is there's good portions of Pinellas County that are going to be storm surge at about 3 feet. If you go on the National Hurricane Center, it's showing about 3 feet, which is 3 feet above ground, not 3 feet above sea level. And guess whose home is in the middle of that? Me. So I'm trying to be smiley. I'm a little like, oh, okay. So we got to start enacting the next phases of our plan. So for me, one of the big things I really, really, really need to get done is we have so much stuff on the patio, and I need to clear out, I need to rearrange stuff in the garage. So I'm going to start working and rearranging stuff in the garage so that I have more space to pull stuff into. But because we are an evacuation zone, I will have extra space because one of our cars will be out of there, as we will not be staying in the house because we'll be locking it all up, because that's what you got to do. Good thing we have hurricane shutters. Those will go fast. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go head into the garage and start rearranging, because So here's the garage. It's actually a really nice sized garage. It fits 2 cars really, really well, but doesn't fit a ton more. So we have like some storage and stuff like that, but I need to try to maximize getting some of these stuff like up on the shelves, because we do have a little bit of shelf space, which can hopefully free up a little bit more floor space. And then I need to go and see what I can put in the attic. I don't think we have any floorboards. So while this isn't your regular gardening content, I guess you'll get a little bit of gardening organization, because this side is a lot of, if you've ever heard me say I had to take pots back, this is years and years and years of collecting. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna try to get as much of this as efficient and organized as possible, so that I can fit more stuff from the back in here. And then that's just what I'm gonna have to do. Actually, before I even go and start organizing, I wanna go and look in the attic. I've never actually been in our attic before. I'm gonna need both hands, I think, for this. But I've never been in there before, so I really honestly don't know what it is. And we've never thought about storing stuff. If you've lived in Florida a long time, the attics are not good storage places. They are very, very bad storage places because they get so hot. Which in the future, we're gonna have the super foam insulation so that there's really only like a 20-degree difference, and then it'll be a better storage location. So we're like immediately into the eaves of the house up there. I was hoping I'd kind of come into like a open space, but I didn't think about it. This kind of has a pitch already to it, so I don't know that I'm gonna be able to fit anything even up there. Fudge. Okay, well, we will just make the best of it down here. That's what we're gonna have to do. We don't really have a lot of options at this point. So one of the things I did notice is I got some hooks over here, which will be really great for later when I pull all the other potted plants in. I'm going to try to wait till tomorrow for that. I just have an empty pot, so up it'll go. My big thing right now is I need to go as vertical as possible so I can start clearing some of this space for just other stuff. And if you're thinking, Jacqueline, isn't there a black pot? Like these black plastic pot shorters? Yes, there is. And actually this week I was planning on doing an update video on the garden. And I was gonna take these back. 90% of this was gonna all go back and I had no use for it. So this is inconvenient timing. But it's too far out of my way to go and take them right now, so we'll just rearrange it for now and whatever. I mean, it's tall, but whatever. We're safe in space. Oh, my word. I think the question here is, does it look any different than it did before? I don't think it looks hugely different, but I can tell it doesn't go as far out as it was going. So on one level, I feel like I've got more space, and on another level, I'm like, did it make a difference? So I'm gonna go take all my sweet potato storage, throw what's left in the compost because most of it's gone at this point. Rinse these all out, and then I'm gonna try collecting toys from the back patio. And we'll use this shelf unit to store more of the toys and stuff that need to be moved. So it's a bit of a disaster zone back here. We had a water problem in our house, so we had to have like all the floors replaced on this side. And at that time, many things that were large, like these Hot Wheels sets, got moved outside and have never been moved back in because they are very dirty now. But I don't think I'm gonna have, well, you know what, if we don't have a car in there and I just gotta move this furniture, we might be okay. But what I'm gonna do is take the time to move some of the stuff in, deflate things like the kiddie pool. And then because I can't move the sandbox unless it's empty, I am going to empty the sandbox. Ben jokingly said, well, we could use them as sandbags, so that's an idea, right? And here's the cool thing. When Irma hit, we had gotten sandbags. Not we, Ben got sandbags because I was at work very far away. I could not get to them. But what we chose to do is instead of dumping the sand and trashing it all, we actually kept the sandbags and we put them along the fence line back there. Now there's stuff on top of it now, like brush and dirt and probably mulch, but they're back there. So if we need them, we can go grab them, which is, we're probably gonna need them. So, but I'm gonna save that till tomorrow because it's Monday still. But Tuesday, Ben will not work and he's gonna instead help me prep for the storm surge inside the house. So what I'm trying to do is get this so that we have as little as possible to do with this tomorrow. I will have to have him help me move like the furniture and stuff into the garage because it's a two-person lift for sure. And then I'm gonna try to hold off yanking plants in until the last minute. But cool thing is that I realized I had those hooks because those will be handy dandy for all my little. So let's start deflating, organizing, and then I'll identify anything else that just needs to probably be trashed. It's probably been needing to be trashed, so we'll just make it gone with the kids not here, because you may be like me when your kids see a thing that they haven't played with for like, oh, I don't know, 6 months, a year, even 2 years, 3 years, they're like, oh my God, but that's my littlest one, but that's my favorite. It's like, dude, you have that. Favorite what? So if it will never cross their minds that it even was existing. So some of these things are just gonna, right now, maybe I'm a bad parent for that, but sometimes you just need to make some things go bye-bye. Especially when you have a mom whose love language is gifts, and it's very easy to ask for gifts. I love my mom, but she is super easy to be like, my little one this morning, can I go to Target and get a toy? My mom answers, yes. No resistance, nothing. And it all ends up in my house, which is great, but also not great at moments like these. Okay, cleaning time. But I honestly don't remember what's actually in it. So I think it's a good time to go through it really quickly, chuck what we don't need into a trash can, and then store as much as the stuff. Also, because it's on wheels, it's nice so that tomorrow when Ben's able to help me, or even this evening, I can move it pretty fast and easy. So the more I can fit in there, the better. So I will focus on that first. This was left by the previous owners and we have held on to it. It's a happy garden bunny. Look how happy it is. But we never hung it up. Actually, I think we talked about painting it at one point and then, well, future project, not today. I have been looking everywhere for this. Yay! Okay, well this is good. This is the end of my little watering can, the little diffuser part, and I've been thinking about buying a whole new watering can because I cannot find this. The other one, it broke off of, so it just sends out like a huge jet stream. But the little green one, I was like, oh, I swear I had it. Don't know where it was. Look at this. Who needs spring cleaning? We have hurricane cleaning. Yes! But I mean, well, us four, my parents, and our 3 dogs, all in one space. It'll be it'll be fun. But I figure I'll bring some movies over until we lose power, because we're gonna lose power. Irma, they only lost power for a day. Our house, 5 days. That sucked. So, but what I will do is bring like card games and board games so that we can entertain ourselves when we lose power, because I'm guaranteeing you, we're gonna lose power. We lose power during normal storms. I don't see how we're not losing power. Oh, you know, actually yesterday wasn't too bad heat-wise. So while we were doing lots of work, I don't know if today feels hotter or what. I mean, it's gotta be that's hotter because I'm sweating way more than I did yesterday, and I was doing much harder lifting of work. You get what I'm saying, right? I was doing much heavier duty of work, and I don't feel like I was sweating as badly as I am. These. organized. I'm feeling much, I'm feeling much better about it here. My next task is I gotta go digging through the sand pit over there because the sand pit has many toys hidden amidst it. So we shall be scavenging to see what shall we find deep in there. And you may be wondering why we're not spending time like boarding up our windows and stuff yet. So the great thing, bad thing about the good thing about the bad thing. So when we first moved into this house, many of the windows, the mechanisms on them were broken. And the FEMA guidelines basically say, well, at least at that time, I don't know what they say now, is that if you replace 25% of your windows, you have to provide hurricane protection, which meant all the windows that we replaced and all the windows that were already replaced had to either be hurricane grade or we had to put hurricane protection on them. So we do have the ones that aren't hurricane grade are these. These are accordion style shutters. So they're on a track, which one of the things I'll have to be doing tomorrow is like making sure the tracks are all clear. And I know there's some wasp nests around. So we'll have to be tackling them. But yeah, we just pull them shut. So it took about maybe an hour just because we have to get like around shrubbery and stuff to many of them. But other than that, I mean, it's really pretty simple process for us. What's gonna be much harder is the sandbags and laying down like towels and stuff tomorrow to make sure, or tomorrow, Wednesday, I don't know, not really sure what our timeline's gonna be, but there was a newscaster my father-in-law just sent to us that basically said like, think Irma with the way it's gonna feel because hopefully the eye's not gonna hit land, but you're still gonna get like some of the lower grade hurricane, like category type 1 winds. And for our neighborhood, what that meant was lots of trees and the banyan type trees, huge yards, just ripped up. A couple pines, I would say percentage wise, all the banyans, high percentage. A couple pines, so very low, because there's a ton of pines in my neighborhood. And then no oaks fell. Oak branches, there was oak branches, but no oaks fell in the neighborhood. And no power, that was the main thing. And then the people who had whole entire trees fall on their house, those one had the really bad damage. But otherwise, most of us were just kind of like, clean up the yard. That was mostly. So hopefully it's like that. But last time we dragged everything in so that, you know, there wasn't anything to like smash our house. So I'll keep moving this stuff. Okay. But yes, that's why if you're wondering why when we're on Monday and the storm's hitting Wednesday night, why I haven't put up shutters or like boarded up the windows, it's because we have these and it's pretty fast to do. So that will be one of the last things we do, because once we do it, it gets really dark in the house, like really dark. So I don't want to do it until like we have to do it. And also we'll probably like drop off the kids before we do it, because it'll be a little unsettling for them just to be like, it's very dark in here. So, okay, now we shall do the sand pit. My little one said, why wait to go to the beach? I'll make my own. So now I've got to deal with this little project here. And you may be wondering how I am going to make this mess not a total disaster to go and deal with. Well, the good thing about me never getting one of my projects done that I meant to do like a year ago is I still have these like self-filling, self-watering pots. So I'm gonna put the sand in here and let the water drain out to this and then just chuck it over the next day. So then we'll just have the sand in here and we can just dump it later. I feel like that was a good idea. Good job, me. I'll also get to dig out some lovely little toys too. So that's done. So that sand's gonna drain for a while. So I think right now what I'm gonna start doing is moving some of the smaller, like the buckets and stuff like that, over into the garage, because those won't take up any space away from cars. because we still want to put the cars in tonight. But tomorrow night, my car might be at my parents', maybe tonight. Oh, and if you're wondering, like, how do I have a space? Parents live in a condo with a bunch of people who don't, like, ever aren't in their condos. So what that means, and my parents are always there, and so they make friends with people, and then people are like, oh, can you take care of this for us and that for us and whatever. And then what ends up happening is they'll ask them, hey, when you're not in town and your car's not in town, like, can we use your space? And they said yes. And so one of them's like, I think in Canada right now because it's still hot. And so they were just like, hey, hurricane's coming, can Jacqueline use your spot? And the neighbor said yes. Regina, thank you, Regina. And so maybe what I'll tell them, I'll ask them is just, hey, can I just move my car in there so that like another neighbor doesn't get weird and like just take Regina's spot? And then that'll get my car out of the way, and then we can use Ben's car to shuttle some stuff back and forth, and then we'll leave Ben's car here, and then we can use either my mom, my dad's, or my car to do. Yeah, okay, a plan is forming. I'll call my dad, let me ask him. So, hot off the press. So I talked to my dad, and he's cool with me taking my car over to his place so that we can just like get my car out of the way and I can start moving stuff into the garage. Whether I do it tonight or first thing in the morning, I don't know. But then my father-in-law just texted all of us, and that while we knew we were going to be in evacuation, I didn't see a like official timeline type thing. It just said, you know, these are going to end up having to evacuate, or they're considering. I don't remember. But now it's official, and my zone, Zone A, we get to evacuate by 6 p.m. tonight, and that's only in a couple hours. So our evacuation goes into effect very shortly. But that doesn't mean like, they're trying to phase people, because then Zone B is like 7 a.m. tomorrow. But since we're just going to be evacuating to my parents' place, like it's not that big of a drive. It's 15 minutes from here. It ain't that big. It's kind of crazy how in Pinellas it's like, I think my dad said like the evacuation zone like ends like right across the block from where they live. And then my in-laws, I don't think are in our evacuation zone. So they're also going to be okay. So between both of their places, we'll be able just to go, and both of them only live 15 minutes from us. So we'll be okay. So we'll have time tomorrow. And the challenge is like Ben's company isn't based out of Florida. They're off in La La Land in Chicago. And so they have given no notice to the employees, the few employees who live down here, of like, hey, get out of here. Go do what you need to do. So Ben's still working. So I'm trying to get stuff done so that as soon as he's done, we can try to wrap up a couple things here. But I think we're actually okay. As long as he's off tomorrow, shuttering up everything will go pretty fast. And because we aren't going to get tropical storm winds until the evening, we should be okay if we just start first thing. And I've already talked to the grandparents about taking the kids in the morning, so that because they're not in school, if they can just get them out of the way, you know, and we don't have to focus on them, then we can start working on just like shutting everything up, sandbagging, putting away the stuff from the outside. I do need help on a couple things with Ben, and then I will start moving. But now that we've done some coordinating over the phone, I know I keep saying, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do something. But then what's happening is I'm talking to people on the phone trying to coordinate. Does it like that with you too? Like everyone's talking, and it's good, but it also keeps stopping what you're doing so that you can like get it done. So I'm going to take these things because they're small and they just go on a shelf, and that's not a big deal. And I'm going to get them in there. I think I'm going to take those hula hoops. I'm also going to hang them from the hooks. And the bubbles and stuff I'm going to put with the other bubbles, so that all the bubbles are together in the garage so that we can bubble away. And I think and then I'll probably try to collapse that and get them in there. Yes, that's a little foldy picnic table, which is really fun because we can do like arts and crafts outside. But now I think the boys are getting bigger, so maybe that's going to go post-hurricane. But it's been very cute when they were little. We would actually have it in the front yard. Oh, it was so nice. So Ben and I, when we would do mulch before, when they were really little, like we would put this little picnic table out there, and they would do like watercolor painting and coloring or little like projects on the table while we would move mulch. And they would just sit there, and then we'd have that little kiddie pool out, and we'd just fill it like a bunch of rednecks in the front yard, and they would splash in the pool and come do arts and crafts. And then that's how we used to get a lot of the garden work done in the morning. And when they were younger, it's because they would just play out there with us, and then they'd like move a piece of mulch or something for a minute, and then they'd get bored and go back or get tired. That's a good way to tire them, have them move mulch. Okay, let's go. So I feel like we've made some really good progress. Once I can start loading up this half of the garage, I think it's gonna go really fast, especially if I've been. Because moving things one by one on my own is a little bit time consuming. Well, not one by one, I am using my garden cart to help me make things a little bit more efficient, but I think we've got as much we can get in here with the cars here. So let's go check out how far I got in the back. So you can see kind of, we did good. Okay, so here's what we got left. We got just some of my Hot Wheels sets, trampolines, that little playhouse thing, which I'm gonna donate. It's in good condition, I don't wanna chuck it. But who's gonna take it right now? Got this thing to move. There's a tarp back there, which I'll just do that with Ben. I gotta move my garbage can. And then of course all the furniture, the sand, and the play pin. And then we'll be done with back here. So I think this will probably take Ben and I maybe an hour, hour and a half to finish this up. And then we got a few things to go finish still in the garden for tomorrow. So, I mean, moving the hanging pot, I think I'm gonna end up having to move the hanging pots and stuff by the end of tomorrow, because once the tropical storm winds are coming, while they won't necessarily knock them down, am I gonna wanna go out in them to go grab all of them? No. So probably by late afternoon tomorrow, what I'll do is I'll go grab all my hanging things and put them in the garden, plus water. And then I think then we're gonna have to make the final call on if we're moving any of the branches. The raised garden bed where the corn is, because it doesn't have soil like really filling it, that thing's gonna be pretty easy for winds to grab. So Ben and I have already talked about, we're gonna just like half disassemble it. We'll just like take it apart on two sides. And then, or actually, well, if we've got the space, we'll just put we're just gonna move the whole thing inside. So we'll get that done really quickly, the fire pit, and then we'll make the final call on like, do we need to move the strawberry pot? And that's all gonna be about like, how much wind do we think we're gonna have? Because that pot's really heavy. That pot is really heavy, and it's heavier than when we moved it in Irma, and Irma was 5 years ago. And that plant has a massive root system. Like the root is basically the size of the pot. So I don't want to move it. That's the long and short of it. I don't want to move it. And then we got to decide on some of these branches if we're going to move any of those. So I think that's what we'll be doing for tomorrow, and then sandbags plus closing shutters up. So let's head inside. I'm probably gonna take a really fast shower because I'm gross. And then I'm gonna start filling up bags of water. So let's go inside. So we're inside. That never happens. So what's going on now is I'm going to start filling up gallon Ziploc bags full of water. This is a really easy way to like store water without running around to all the stores like a chicken with your head cut off, wondering if you can get enough bottled water. Because really, the bottled water isn't about the hurricane itself. It's all about the aftermath. And for those who went through like Andrew, I think in Wilma, we lost water for, I don't remember how many days. So when you lose water, you need water, and people drink a lot of water. And then plus you need them for flushing toilets and stuff like that. Like forget showers and baths. This is like flushing toilets, drinking. So, so people go crazy. They buy up all the gallon jugs and everything, but usually you can find these pretty easy, and you can freeze them in blocks, which helps your freezer, and it can help your fridge. So what we do is we fill these up, freeze them, and that's what we're gonna do now. The other thing we do, and Ben I think got it started already, is, yes. So we take a small Tupperware like this and we just put it, just a low dish, put this much in. And then once that's frozen, we'll put a penny or a dime on it. And that way it's kind of a way to be able to tell, hey, what happened? Did our freezer lose power? And if it did, was it long enough for that little ice block to melt and the penny to drop? And if you see it does, then you know that like, ugh, your food's super questionable whether it's safe to eat. So those are some like the little like easy tricks, and it doesn't take a lot. And even if you don't have Ziploc bags, like whatever containers you have, just like load up every glass vase. Oh yeah, last time we were filling up our vases and putting them in the fridge. I was like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Because you know what? People who are fancy drink out of carafe bottles. And so if you are fancy, drink out of a vase. So let's fill up some of these bags. And the good thing is that, I guess the good thing about the bad thing is that because of the timing of this year, pretty much all of our harvest that was in the freezer from all the different crops is gone. So our additional freezer in the laundry room is pretty much empty. So I can just really go to town. And this is gonna get me like 30 gallons. And then I think we bought a whole nother box. So we might have enough. So I'm gonna fill that all up, and then whatever I don't have bags for, I'll grab some of our reusable water bottles and all that kind of jazz and just start filling it up. Now I won't do the full fridge until probably tomorrow, just because the kids are gonna be home soon. We gotta start doing dinner and all that stuff. So let me just get going on these because it's gonna take some time for them to freeze, and because we just love to lose power here, I would like to get them those situated as soon as possible. Now, the tip and the trick for when you want to defrost these, if you're going to use them for drinking, not like everything was fine, you didn't need to use your Ziploc water. One of the things you're going to want to do is defrost them in a bowl, because you will get minor tears and stuff like that in here, especially with like, because these will be basically giant blocks of ice. So there is the potential that they will like get slightly damaged. So put them in a bowl so you don't lose water, because in a critical situation where you're going to need water, that'll be important. But you can see, like, look at this. I already got 2 gallons. Just like that. And I think the average case of water is, let's see, you got 20. So like when you look at like a case of water, you're really only looking at like 3-4 gallons at most. And that's like the really, really big packs. So, you know, you can see how quickly and easily you got a lot of water. Just something to think about. Okay, well, it's official. We're 36 hours out from emergency activity. Just while I was filming, my phone started screaming at me that for storm surge and hurricane. So it's time to do final preparations. It's gonna be tonight and tomorrow. So yeah, so let's go get these 3 gallons in the freezer. And the nice thing is if you want to, you can totally maximize space by just like once these are frozen, putting a bag right here, and it will exactly fit that space. So it's 5 o'clock, just checking the 5, remember we talked about the 5s and 11s, and it's not looking great for us. So yeah, so they're showing some landfall on Pinellas County, and we just got those alerts. So I think we're now officially in hurricane warning. I mean, I guess that's what my text alert was telling me, but that's what this is showing. And actually, I'm just gonna look really quick to see what the discussion points are. So here are the discussion points for Florida, 5 p.m. Monday. There's a danger of life-threatening storm surge along much of Florida's west coast, where the storm surge warning has been issued with the highest risk for Fort Myers to the Tampa Bay region. Residents in these areas should listen to advice given by local officials. Hurricane force winds are expected in the hurricane warning area in west central Florida beginning Wednesday morning, with tropical storm conditions expected by late Tuesday, which is what we expected. Okay. Heavy rainfall will increase across the Florida Keys and South Florida Tuesday, spreading to central and northern Florida Wednesday and Thursday, potentially causing flash urban and small stream flooding. Significant prolonged river flooding is likely across central Florida. So that's where we're at on the 5s. Not looking great. Let's just look at the wind probabilities. So when I said there's like a lot of data, this is one of the ones, is the wind probability that my dad likes to look at. I haven't historically looked at this one, but what I'm looking for is Tampa on here, and it will tell me across the hours what are the probabilities, but I can't see the header, so it's very not easy to read. And arrival time for winds is still, it looks like maybe a little bit later than Tuesday, 8 o'clock at night, but we want to have stuff wrapped up by evening. I mean, before it gets dark, because that's not going to be good. Okay, and then surge activity. Yeah, they're saying 5 to 10 feet surge. That sucks. Okay, well, I don't know how to leave it on a cheery note. Hey, we're hurricane warning and surge warning here, and we're supposed to be evacuating in 1 hour, but we won't. We'll evacuate tomorrow. So I'm gonna leave it here with you guys. And if you want to see some of my preparation yesterday, go ahead and check out this. And if you want to see tips from my dad on what you should move and when you should move it, check out that. And I'll try to keep you guys updated as much as I can through the storm. And I'll see you soon. Bye.